Child. A black tiger was born in the Panjiwa Zoo, but never accepted the keeper's 9 daily feedings. Instead, it insisted on exercising every day, practicing various fighting techniques of wild beasts, from the 36th road capture technique down to the Shaolin 12th road leg flick. They were all my daily routines, only because I knew that soon a bloody rain would sweep across the globe. At that time, all kinds of animals and plants would evolve and grow crazily. Powerful superhumans would also appear among humans. In my previous life, although I awakened an ability, the ability I awakened was too trashy. After barely surviving for a few years, I was still slapped to death by a powerful, ferocious beast. And this black tiger, in its previous life, although it awakened the SSS level talent ability Devour, but because it was too fat, it had no combat ability at all, and was killed by a white tiger who was also a reincarnator, and had its ability Golden Core eaten. That white tiger devoured the ability Golden Core, and obtained the black tiger's talent ability. By continuously devouring the talent abilities of other beings, it rose quickly. It once fought 3 beast emperors alone, and killed them. Its strength was terrifying to the extreme. Now I am reborn as this black tiger. Naturally, I won't let the tragedy repeat itself. Mom, look! Another big tiger is coming! Outside the tempered glass, a little girl excitedly pointed at a tiger in the zoo. I saw at the entrance of the tiger park. A robust white tiger was slowly walking into the park. The white tiger exuded a kingly aura. Like a tiger king, it was imposing without being angry. I knew this new white tiger was the reincarnator who killed the black tiger in the previous life. No wonder the black tiger was killed in the previous life. Just its natural aura overwhelmed all other tigers. In the tiger park, besides myself and this white tiger, there were 2 other tigers locked up because they had been fed for a long time. They had long lost their ambition, eating and sleeping every day. Therefore, they were covered in fat. Feeling the ferocity of the white tiger, the other 2 tigers showed fear in their eyes. They didn't dare to bully this newcomer. Looking at these 2 lazy fat tigers, I was full of disdain. In the past, I would not have been a match for this white tiger, but now I have absolute confidence to crush it. Now on the night of the bloody rain, after the white tiger's ability Golden Core has condensed, I will kill and devour it in one fell swoop. Then I can obtain the white tiger's talent ability. Although I don't know what talent the white tiger will awaken from its aura. The awakened ability should not be too weak. Time passed in a flash until 1 o'clock. As night fell, the noisy daytime, zoo gradually became quiet. I looked at the white tiger, which was already in deep sleep. The white tiger in sleep. A cold glint flashed in my eyes. At midnight tonight, the bloody rain would fall. The beginning of the global purification era. And now there was only half an hour until midnight. To be absolutely sure, I decided to first severely injure the white tiger. To make it easier for me to seize the golden core in its body, seize the golden box inside him. Thinking of this, I walked over with cold eyes, accompanied by a series of miserable screams. After a moment, the white tiger lay dying on the ground. I glanced coldly at the other 2 tigers that kept roaring, but dared not approach. I didn't take them seriously. Then I guarded the white tiger's body, silently waiting for midnight to come. As time ticked by, thunderous roars suddenly sounded. The night sky changed abruptly. Dense dark clouds covered the entire sky. It was finally about to begin. Seeing this, a golden light flashed in my tiger eyes. The next moment, deafening thunder roared from the clouds. Heavy bloody rain fell from the sky. The other 2 tigers ran directly under a big tree to take shelter, while I dragged the dying white tiger to an open area, bathed fully in the bloody rain, without any avoidance. This unprecedented bloody rain was the key to the purification of all living beings, and also the energy source for purification. Directly accepting the energy baptism of the bloody rain would make the first purification more perfect. In the heavy rain, I closed my tiger eyes, letting the bloody rain wash over my body. Gradually, I felt something strange in my body. A hot feeling suddenly arose, traveling through my whole body. The heat grew stronger, until it felt like I was on fire. I couldn't help but let out a long howl. I felt the cells in my body mutating crazily. A strong tearing sensation in my body gradually overwhelmed my consciousness. While my body was undergoing changes, the white tiger beside me was also convulsing all over. It looked very painful. The wounds I had inflicted on it were actually healing at a visible speed. The 2 tigers hiding under the tree also didn't feel well, letting out restless, low growls. Throughout the zoo, the roar of some animal could be heard from time to time, but no one noticed due to the thunder. I don't know how long passed. The pain inside me finally disappeared. Now I had grown from 3 meters to 5 meters in size. My black fur became even glossier. The texture was dark, thick, and hard like steel needles. My sharp claws were like cast iron, gleaming with astonishing light. Flashing with astonishing cold light. Feeling the powerful strength within me, I couldn't help but raise my head and roar. At the same time, A memory like a bloodline awakening surged in my mind. Devour can continuously devour the talent abilities of other beings and make them my own. Indeed, it was still the Devour ability. I was thrilled, whether beast or human. The awakened talent. The strength of the ability depends on the quality of one's bloodline, the quality of the veins. The better the bloodline, the more powerful the awakened ability. Both human abilities and beast talents are divided into 9 levels from low to high. They are F level, D level, C level, B level, A level, S level, SS level, and SSS level. My own talent ability Devour belongs to SSS level, Reborn in a new life. My goal is naturally to become the strongest beast emperor. Now it's time to deal with you. I looked coldly at the white tiger beside me. The initial evolution was complete. Now inside the white tiger, the ability Golden Core must have condensed as long as I swallow its golden core. I can obtain the white tiger's talent ability after the baptism of blood. The white tiger's injuries had healed. It emitted the aura of a ferocious beast. At this moment, the white tiger was dazed as a reincarnator. It obviously didn't expect to be defeated. Seeing me approach, feeling the strong killing intent emanating from me, it backed away fearfully. I roared and directly activated my talent ability. The next moment, a terrifying aura emanated from me. My claws gleamed with blinding metallic light. Seeing this, the white tiger let out uneasy roars. Its eyes were filled with fear. My eyes were cold without any mercy. I swung my claws and lunged at it. Amidst the white tiger's screams, I mercilessly tore its body apart. From inside, I took out a golden core, the size of an egg. Fresh blood flowed all over the ground. A strong smell of blood filled the air. Watching my brutal process of killing the white tiger, the remaining 2 tigers trembled in fear, their eyes full of terror. Now looking at the golden core in my hand, my tiger eyes were blazing with desire. The next moment, I swallowed the golden core in one gulp. Instantly, a thick primordial power traveled through my body, finally merging with my own ability, Golden Core. At this moment, I could clearly feel my strength had increased significantly. Later generations based on the strength of human ability users and beasts divided strength into 1st to 9th rank. Above 9th rank, there are even more powerful king rank and emperor rank. Feeling the surging power in my body, I estimated my strength had reached the peak of 1st rank. As time passed slowly, the white tiger's ability Golden Core was finally fully absorbed. At the same time, information flooded into my mind. Frenzy can instantly enhance physical strength by 10 times. I was thrilled. So the white tiger had awakened a combat type talent ability. At this moment, my heart was full of ambition. In the previous life, this white tiger became famous with the Devour ability, and in this life, I will replace it as the new strong one. The bloody rain in the sky continued. Now that I have completed the awakening, I can take advantage of the heavy rain as cover to leave the zoo. After all, this is human territory. Before I grow up, I definitely can't withstand attacks from hot weapons. As a beast with the Devour ability, returning to the mountains to hunt other beasts is the right path. And in the mountains, due to the infusion of bloody rain energy, some plants have also evolved, producing various heavenly treasures and earthly gems. These heavenly treasures and earthly gems, whether consumed by beasts or humans, can bring great benefits. In the previous life in the Dali Mountains outside Shanghai City, at the beginning of evolution, a Thunder UN fruit appeared. If I can obtain it first and swallow it, I can gain control over lightning power. Thinking of this, I came to the tempered glass. With a thought, I directly activated the frenzy ability and swung my iron-like claws, easily cutting through the hard, tempered glass. Then I walked toward the zoo entrance according to my memory. Suddenly, my body moved. My eyes instantly became sharp. I sensed the aura of a ferocious beast inside the zoo. It seemed other animals in the zoo had also successfully awakened and evolved into 1st-rank beasts, promoted to a 1st-tier fierce beast. After hesitating for a moment, I slowly approached along the aura while concealing my own aura, since a beast had awakened. It must have awakened a talent ability and condensed an ability Golden Core inside its body. I naturally wouldn't miss such a good opportunity. Soon following the aura, I arrived at the reptile area of the zoo. Hearing a series of hisses, a glint flashed in my eyes. It seemed this beast should be a snake. Through the tempered glass barrier, I could see the beast inside. It was a giant python about 10 meters long. A python as long as 10 meters? Its body emitted a faint glow, like pieces of scales. However, this python looked very painful right now. opening its bloody mouth. It spewed astonishing cold air. Wherever the cold air passed, a layer of ice crystals formed. It was a python that had awakened an ice attribute talent ability. A golden light flashed in my eyes. This python had clearly just finished purification, not yet fully familiar with its ability. This was the best time to strike. Thinking of this, I didn't hesitate. I immediately swung my claws and shattered the tempered glass in front. The sudden movement immediately caught the python's attention. Sensing the beast aura emanating from me, the python became alert. A fierce light flickered in its snake eyes. Without hesitation, I activated the frenzy ability. Instantly terrifying power surged through me. My body size increased instantly. I charged straight at the python. The python hissed, twisted its huge tail and swept at me. With my experience from the previous life fighting beasts, I easily dodged the python's attack while my sharp claws landed on its body, like cast iron claws. Easily left a large gash on the python, a large wound left on the body. Red blood immediately gushed out. The python was hurt, letting out a miserable hiss. It suddenly opened its huge mouth wide, and a shocking burst of cold air spewed out, spraying directly at me. Seeing this, I leaped up, agilely dodging the cold air attack. The terrible cold air hit the ground, instantly forming a frost zone. Seeing it miss, the python prepared to spray again, but I didn't give it the chance. I lunged and swung my claws, slashing hard across its belly, almost scooping out the python's entrails, suffering such a heavy blow. The python instantly lost its combat ability. Its huge snake body rolled on the ground. Red blood spilled everywhere. I naturally wouldn't show mercy. Strike while the iron is hot. I struck again, piercing the python's head. The python twitched a few times and then stopped moving. I took a deep breath. From its body, I pulled out a snow-white ability golden core. Without hesitation, I swallowed the golden core, simultaneously activating the Devour ability. In an instant, a strange devouring force emerged from within me. Quickly enveloping the snow-white golden core, a piercing cold sensation traveled through my body, as if changing my body structure. Evolution between beasts basically relies on devouring the flesh and blood of other strong beasts, or heavenly treasures and earthly gems. But this kind of devouring only allows absorption of the blood essence from the beast's flesh. To evolve the physique, cannot absorb the other's talent ability. Unless the bloodlines of two beasts are extremely compatible, at least the same species, and even then only a slight chance. However, my Devour ability can achieve 100% absorption of any beast's talent ability. After a moment on my dark black fur, a layer of frost suddenly appeared. Joy flashed in my eyes. At the same time, a new piece of information appeared in my mind. Frost Breath B-level talent ability can spew out ice power. I eagerly opened my mouth wide. A terrifying cold air sprayed out, landing on the python's corpse. Instantly, a layer of ice crystals formed on the corpse. I was extremely satisfied. Although it was only a B-level talent ability, I didn't despise it at all. Having one more talent ability means having another method to deal with enemies. Moreover, as I continue to evolve, the power of this frost breath will also increase. It's a way to add a long-range attack. Now it's time to leave this zoo. I slammed my paw on the python's corpse, shattering the ice crystals, opened my mouth wide and began to devour the python's flesh. Although the python had just awakened, its flesh still contained considerable energy. After eating and drinking my fill, I swaggered out of the zoo and openly ran on the streets. My goal was to head to the Dali Mountains to seize the Thunder UN fruit. Although the bloody rain had fallen and the path of evolution had begun, there were many beasts in the Dali Mountains. But at this moment, they were still low intelligence. Acting purely on instinct to kill, they might not notice treasures like the Thunder UN fruit. The next morning, this global bloody rain finally stopped. Except for the faint smell of blood in the air, and the blood rain that hadn't yet soaked into the soil, everything seemed as if nothing had happened. Same as usual. But the Panjihua Zoo suddenly issued a notice announcing the temporary closure of the zoo, claiming maintenance and security work. In reality, all staff in the zoo were frantically searching for that black tiger. At the same time, the internet exploded. More and more people began to discuss the strange rain last night. Did you guys feel it? Yesterday's rain was very strange. I felt it too. When I went out just now, I noticed a faint smell of blood everywhere. I thought my sense of smell was acting up. Today, as soon as I stepped out, I stepped in a puddle. Guess what? It turned out to be a pool of blood. Everyone, not just the blood rain. Even my pet suddenly changed dramatically. At this moment, a netizen posted a thread with a video attached below. Countless curious netizens clicked on the video and were soon shocked or even scared by what they saw. In the video, the netizen's big yellow dog at home seemed to have gone mad. It even dared to bite people. Eventually, it was shot dead by the police who arrived. but it had already caused casualties of 5 or 6 people, and such situations were many, all popping up overnight. Netizens discussed nervously, wondering what was happening. Some also guessed whether it was related to last night's blood rain. At that moment, after a day and night of travel, I finally arrived at the Dali Mountains on the outskirts of Zhanghai City, because the Thunder Yuan fruit was deep in the Dali Mountains. I didn't rest for a moment, kept running at full speed. I was determined to get the Thunder Yuan fruit. According to my past life memory, in the previous life, the Thunder Yuan fruit seemed to have been devoured by a giant bear, which then gained the power of thunder, eventually becoming a powerful beast that terrorized Zhanghai City. People called it the Thunder Giant Bear. This shows how extraordinary the Thunder Yuan fruit is. Such a spiritual treasure should not be missed. In the previous life, that giant bear was lucky to get this opportunity, but in this life, the Thunder Yuan fruit can only belong to me. Gradually, the information in my mind became clearer. My heart began to feel urgent. Since the start of the blood rain, a day and night had passed. I didn't know if the Thunder Yuan fruit had already been eaten by that giant bear. Such heavenly treasures are too conspicuous. Once they appear, they will definitely attract fierce fighting among nearby beasts. Thinking of this, I increased my speed again. All kinds of beasts along the way fled in panic, afraid of being harmed by me. But there were also many beasts showing hostility towards me. I have to say the blood rain gave them a lot of courage. At the same time, deep in the Dali Mountains, suppressed roars of beasts could be heard constantly. Some weaker beasts fled toward the outer edges of the mountains. Many awakened beasts were announcing their territories with roars. Among the many beasts, there was a peculiar tree with silvery white branches and leaves. Strange trees all silvery white. At the top of the tree, a fruit was growing. The fruit was completely silvery white, covered in fine lightning-like patterns, and was glowing. All the beasts present stared at the silver fruit with burning eyes. Although their intelligence was low, instinct told them that swallowing this fruit would make them stronger, becoming the ruler of this mountain forest, doing whatever they wanted. Therefore, more and more beasts either growled or pawed the ground restlessly, slowly inching toward the silver fruit. At the front of all the beasts were 3 already awakened beasts. Not only were they larger, their aura was also oppressive. The other beasts dared not act rashly. Directly in front of the silver tree was a black wild boar covered in stiff, brown bristles. Its yellow tusks still had fresh blood on them. Opposite the boar was a silvery white giant wolf. The giant wolf was 2 meters long. Its eyes were cunning, and it was restlessly pawing the ground. Moreover, there were faint flames in its mouth, constantly spitting out. The wild boar and the silvery white giant wolf, just its aura alone, was enough to intimidate most of the fierce beasts. But at this moment, their gazes were uniformly fixed upon another massive black-winged figure. I saw a towering beast, a full 5 meters tall, a huge stout male bear, sitting like a human in the mountain forest. Its fierce eyes constantly shifting between the wild boar and the silver-white giant wolf. The 3 most powerful ferocious beasts were now eyeing each other covetously, filled with mutual hatred. All wanted to devour that silver fruit and become the king of the mountain forest. Suddenly, the light above the silver fruit flickered. Instantly, it drew the attention of all the fierce beasts present. The 4th fruit had fully ripened and was about to fall from the branch. The lingering white glow began to flash incessantly. At the same time, an incredibly enticing fragrance kept spreading. The giant bear, the wild boar, and the white wolf instantly revealed greedy glints in their eyes. One beast couldn't hold back any longer and let out a loud roar, charging swiftly toward the silver tree. It even indiscriminately attacked any beast blocking its path. Seeing this, the other beasts were not to be outdone. Almost all of them charged forward at the same time. About 10 meters from the silver tree, a white rabbit, 1 meter long and completely muscular, its eyes bloodshot, charged into the crowd of beasts. Its sharp, oversized front teeth turned into an unstoppable weapon, piercing viciously into the bodies of other beasts. On the giant rabbit's white shiny fur, a splash of glaring blood red stained. This only further provoked its savagery. It pushed off with its hind legs, leaping 4 or 5 meters in an instant, and landed heavily on the pangolin, covered in thick grayish-brown scales. Before the pangolin could react, 2 snow-white front teeth had already viciously pierced into its body. The pangolin immediately let out a painful wail. At the same time, scales flew like snowflakes in all directions. Within just a few minutes, the pangolin's hard scales were all torn apart by the snow-white giant rabbit. Its bloody body was covered in wounds. In the end, it lasted less than 10 seconds before crashing to the ground. The snow-white giant rabbit never slowed down. It continued sprinting toward the silver tree. Any beast it set its eyes on could not escape its sharp front teeth. On the other side, the silver-white giant wolf with its agile movements dodged countless charges from the black wild boar At the same time, terrifying flames spewed from its mouth, turning the surroundings into a molten inferno. Any beast that stepped into it was scorched within moments. As time passed, the beasts in the field were mostly dead. Most had died in mutual combat. Apart from the black giant bear, the wild boar, and the silver-white giant wolf, only 2 other wounded figures remained. Even the ferocious snow-white giant rabbit, which had been so brave at the start, now lay collapsed, less than 5 meters from the silver tree, its body already soaked in blood. At that moment, the black giant bear suddenly turned around, abandoning the wild boar and the giant wolf. The bear rose up on its hind legs, swinging its huge forelimbs, and struck at the 2 beasts not far away. With 2 simultaneous crashing sounds, the 2 beasts collapsed, with no other beasts interfering. In the field, only the 3 most powerful ones remained. The silver-white giant wolf sensed trouble, growling continuously at the black wild boar, and when it charged at the giant bear, it seized the opportunity to assist from the side. The black wild boar instantly understood that the silver-white giant wolf wanted to join forces, so it lowered its guard, ready to team up with the wolf to kill the black bear first. The next moment, 2 flashes of cold light streaked by. The silver-white giant wolf's sharp front paw pierced the black bear's front, shoulder first. But the giant bear had thick skin and tough flesh. This injury meant nothing to it. The black wild boar suddenly launched a charge, using its terrifyingly huge tusks to stab straight into the bear's wound. However, the next moment it was sent flying by the bear's powerful slap. At the same time, the black bear's body suddenly grew larger, and its entire body radiated a dazzling golden light. Its arms and paws all turned golden. Then, the black giant bear struck out several palm blows at the giant wolf, instantly shattering every bone in the silver-white giant wolf's body. It no longer had the strength to fight. The black wild boar suddenly felt a surge of fear, but it didn't expect the black bear to be so fast. Before it could react, a massive bear paw had already pierced through its body. After dealing with the silver wolf and the wild boar, the black giant bear let out a triumphant roar to the sky, as if it were the king of this mountain. Then it turned and walked toward the silver tree. But just then, a deafening tiger roar sounded behind it. It turned its head sharply and saw a massive black tiger staring at it with a menacing gaze. The black tiger also exuded an astonishing aura. Seeing the black bear before it, I was also quite surprised. So this is the beast that swallowed the ancient thunder fruit in its past life. The giant bear, truly powerful, but still no match for me. Without any hesitation, I immediately activated my berserk talent, while simultaneously using my ice power, and struck directly at the black bear's vital point. The black bear, exhausted from consecutive battles, had little energy left. It lasted less than a moment before being killed by me. As a victor, I stepped on the giant bear's body, looked at the thunder source fruit, 2 days, and let out a long roar. The thunder source fruit is mine. Instantly, a kingly aura spread out, intimidating any beast that tried to approach. I paid no attention to these lesser creatures. As the victor, I strode over to the silver tree. After examining the silver fruit for a moment, I opened my mouth and swallowed it. Instantly, a violent energy surged through my entire body. The wild energy rampaged, like a wild beast let loose, trying to crush this body to pieces. My tiger eyes glared, my jaws clenched tightly, as I endured the impact from the thunder source fruit entering my body. Gradually, my body was enveloped in layers of lightning, with electric sparks like little snakes, coursing through my entire being as if alive. My body also grew stronger with the help of the thunder source fruit. Meanwhile, in the Imperial Capital's meeting room, a young recorder in military uniform, holding a notebook, looked tense. Across from him sat several middle-aged men in military uniforms. They sat upright and serious, as if waiting for something. Just then, an elderly man in a Zhongshan suit walked in. The leading officer smiled, gesturing for the old man to sit down. Once everyone was seated, the officer looked at the old man in the Zhongshan suit, his expression turning serious again. Professor Jia, about the task entrusted to you. How is the research going? Please share with everyone. Yes, Chief. The old man's name was Jia Xinyu, a top biological research expert in China. Jia Xinyu adjusted his glasses with his hand. Through our research, we have discovered that this blood rain has brought a mysterious energy to the entire world. It is this energy that has given extraordinary power to wild beasts and pets. We have temporarily named this mysterious energy brought by the blood rain spiritual energy. When absorbed by living beings, spiritual energy enhances physical fitness, strengthens flesh and blood, and tissues. The chief officer and the other middle-aged officers exchanged glances, a bit at a loss. They were staunch materialists, so naturally they didn't believe in these intangible supernatural claims. The chief officer pondered for a moment, then said, "Then can you capture this spiritual energy? Or rather, in what form does it exist?" Jia Xinyu shook his head, a look of regret on his face. During the research, we found that spiritual energy does exist, but at present, it is invisible and intangible. If it weren't for a few test subjects whose bodies were affected by spiritual energy, showing changes, we wouldn't have discovered it so quickly. Moreover, strong and robust wild beasts absorb spiritual energy far better than humans. We selected a few soldiers who had been exposed to the blood rain and compared them with normal soldiers. We found that their strength had increased by a full threefold. Even more terrifying is that a sheep that bathed in the blood rain not only became ferocious, but could also easily break a soldier's bones with a charge. As Jia Xinyu said this, a hint of fear flashed in his eyes. Therefore, I believe that spiritual energy affects all living creatures, especially greatly enhancing wild beasts. If we cannot find a way to control the situation soon, humanity will be in danger in the future. Suddenly, one of the officers burst out laughing. Professor Jia, if what you say is true, could these mutated beasts really be more powerful than guns and cannons? Yes, even if they've been enhanced by some spiritual energy, they are still beasts. They can't possibly stand a chance against humans. Several officers thought Jia Xinyu was making a mountain out of a molehill. Jia Xinyu knew that words alone wouldn't convince these men. So, he signaled a researcher to play the evidence on site. In the video, an armed squad was fighting a giant golden python. Shockingly, the golden python was impervious to bullets, and after devouring several people, it left nonchalantly. The meeting room fell into dead silence. Seeing this, the officers all wore expressions of shock. A terrifying thought emerged in their minds. Now you understand the urgency of the situation, gentlemen. Jia Xinyu's expression was solemn and earnest. At these words, all the officers became grave and remained silent. This matter had completely exceeded their imagination, even beyond their control. Ordinary weapons could no longer harm these beasts. Professor Jia, is there any way to stop this? The officer who had laughed earlier asked cautiously, apologizing for his earlier rudeness. Jia Xinyu waved his hand. At present, we have no way to stop the beast's evolution, because this is inherently an uncontrollable sudden event. For now, we can only try to enhance human strength. You've seen the research data. This blood rain is an opportunity for the beasts, and also an opportunity for humanity. It depends on who can become stronger first. Hearing this, the officer's eyes lit up. Professor Jia, from what you say, you must have already thought of a solution. Yes, the solution is simple. Organize teams to go into the wild and hunt the evolved beasts. Send professionals to follow and extract their bloodlines, and thereby find a way to rapidly enhance human strength. But note that ordinary people cannot directly consume their flesh and blood. It must be processed, otherwise unexpected changes may occur. Meanwhile, the lightning surrounding me had dissipated. The energy of the Thunder Source fruit had been fully absorbed by me. I looked excitedly at a tiger claw, seeing lightning crackling on it, more menacing than ordinary lightning. This was my new ability after swallowing the Thunder Source fruit, Thunder Control. As I focused my mind, the lightning clinging to my tiger claw shot out violently, piercing straight through a tree as thick as 3 men. I was very satisfied with this. Then I turned my attention to the corpse of the black giant bear. This black giant bear had awakened a special ability. After bathing in the blood rain, its flesh and blood were extraordinary, no longer ordinary material. Moreover, there was still undissipated energy inside its body, waiting for me to absorb. In my past life, the Thunder Giant Bear's strength was astonishing. Besides its devastating thunder power, it also possessed an extremely defensive ability, Diamond Transformation. After using Diamond Transformation, the body could enter an indestructible state, making it difficult for ordinary attacks to break its defense. Now, if I could devour the bear's ability core, I would gain its Diamond Transformation ability. So I got to work immediately. I swung my huge tiger claws, digging into the black bear's carcass. After searching for a long time, I finally found a golden ability core in the bear's heart area. Without any hesitation, I swallowed it in one gulp. Instantly, a vast energy coursed through my body. The exhilaration made me unable to resist letting out a long roar to the sky. After digesting the Thunder Source fruit, my strength had already reached the peak of the first stage mid-level. Now, having devoured the black bear's ability core, my strength directly advanced to the first stage late level. My physical attributes and other aspects had also increased several times over. At this point, my body length had reached 10 meters, an absolute giant in this entire mountain forest. I couldn't wait to test my newly acquired ability. Diamond Transformation. Instantly, a layer of gold enveloped my whole body, my tiger claws turning into golden claws, becoming incredibly hard. With a thought, I swiped at a large rock beside me. The rock shattered into pieces. Elation filled me. Although Diamond Transformation was only a first-level ability, it was extremely useful at this stage. With a body as tough as soft steel or diamond, even if I encountered a beast stronger than me, I would have the strength to fight, at least enough to defend myself. Just then, a sound suddenly came from the sky. I narrowed my tiger eyes, instantly becoming alert. Following the direction of the sound, I saw several helicopters above the mountain range, seemingly searching for something. Seeing this, I crouched slightly, but a storm raged in my heart. Logically, humans shouldn't have come this quickly. Or perhaps because of my rebirth. The original timeline had changed. As I pondered, the helicopters all hovered in the air, and then fully armed soldiers descended along ropes. I was startled. Could they be coming for me? Although I had escaped from the zoo after killing the white tiger, it shouldn't have caused such a big commotion. At that moment, a squad of fully armed soldiers advanced in arrow formation, moving forward. Behind them were two researchers. Earlier, they had seen a moving black shape in the forest, but once they entered the woods, they found nothing. The commanding officer felt uneasy. He looked back at the two researchers, hesitated for a moment, then walked over. Professor Lee, Assistant Huang, we should leave for now. This place isn't safe. Professor Lee waved his hand. We'll be careful. Besides, we have so many people protecting us. There won't be any danger. Seeing that his persuasion was useless, the commanding officer had no choice but to give up. They continued advancing. Captain, I have a situation here. Suddenly, a voice came through the communicator. The officer quickly gestured, move to the left. Soon, everyone spotted a large wild boar, nearly 2 meters tall and 4 meters long, charging in with loud grunts. It's about to hit the formation open fire. The officer's face changed color, and he immediately gave the order. In an instant, the forest echoed with intense gunfire. Bronze shell casings kept falling, almost covering the ground. However, to their horror, the massive boar, after letting out a furious roar, grew even larger, and a thick layer of yellowish earth armor emerged on its body, defying the rain of bullets. It aimed at one of the squads and charged straight through. Sharp screams immediately rang out. 3 soldiers were sent flying by the boar, spraying large amounts of blood before they even hit the ground. Kill it! The officer roared with red eyes and took the lead, charging forward, swearing to turn the beast into a sieve. The other soldiers fought even harder, venting their hatred and fury for their fallen comrades. But the boar ignored the bullets. It adjusted its charging direction and attacked again. Watching from a distance, I inwardly remarked how unlucky these guys were. If it had been any other beast, they might have succeeded, but they just had to run into a wild boar. The wild boar's yellowish earth armor clearly indicated it had awakened an earth-type defensive ability. Although this boar was only at the first stage initial level, with its outstanding defense, it could completely ignore the threat of bullets. I shook my head, not optimistic about this group's capture attempt. Even if they could kill the boar, these soldiers would suffer heavy casualties. Whether they could even leave the Dali Mountains alive was questionable. But all of this had nothing to do with me. I would not show myself to help these humans until I had absolute power. I wouldn't even appear in human sight. When I was human in my past life, I naturally had to find ways to survive among fierce beasts. But now, reborn as a tiger, with my past life experiences, I knew very well what it meant to be of a different kind. Their hearts are sure to be different. After all, coexisting with humans is extremely dangerous. I didn't want to die again. Captain, this boar's skin is too thick. Our bullets can't penetrate it. We need to find a way to retreat. At that moment, a soldier shouted beside the officer. However, the officer with red eyes ignored his advice. Aim for its eyes. Think of something. The other soldiers said nothing more, gritting their teeth and continuously shooting at the boar. But the boar had thick skin and tough flesh, was huge, and its movements were exceptionally fast. It was nearly impossible to aim at the weak points around its eyes. Just then, one soldier, as if unable to bear the horror of this beast, let out a loud shout and suddenly charged at the boar. Taking advantage of the moment, the boar opened its huge mouth. He held down the trigger, intending to die together with it. At that moment, I decided to leave. Since the military had set their sights on the Dali Mountains, and the most valuable item here, the Thunder Source fruit, had already been consumed by me, there was no need to stay any longer. Moreover, at any moment, I might run into well-prepared military forces. With that thought, I immediately turned and ran swiftly, heading toward another mountain range, the Heavenly Essence Spirit Tree in the Great Wilderness Mountains. The Heavenly Essence Spirit Tree was one of the most famous among the many rare treasures. In my past life, many factions fought over it, shedding blood and breaking heads, because the fruit it bore had an incredibly miraculous effect. It could accelerate the evolution of beasts, rapidly increasing their strength without any side effects. Moreover, it bore fruit every year, so one could rely on it to build a large troop of powerful beasts. In my past life, the king-class beast, the purple gold lion king, had become the overlord of the great wilderness mountains because he controlled the heavenly essence spirit tree. Later, he even created a powerful beast army, becoming a nightmare for countless humans. Reborn, I naturally wanted to become a ruler myself, and this heavenly essence spirit tree was the key to my future grand ambitions. Thinking this, I increased my speed again. In my past life, the heavenly essence spirit tree had emerged about a month after the mutation. If I went there now, I had a good chance of obtaining it. You beast, I'll kill you! Past life, Tianyuan spirit technique. Was born about a month after the mutation? I can still get it if I go there now. Beast, I'll kill you! On the other side, the officer shouted loudly and sent the remaining bullets all at once into the wild boar's body. They had been fighting desperately until now. More than 30 of their original comrades had died. Almost all of them. Bodies lay scattered all around in disorder, and some of their comrades' bodies were even unrecognizable. Faced with such horrific losses, the officer was about to go mad, but his remaining reason made him understand that he had to kill the wild boar in front of him. Only by surviving this battle could there be hope for survival. Fortunately, a comrade had just risked his life to open a gap in the wild boar's mouth, allowing them to little by little wear down the boar's strength, and finally succeeded in killing it. The captain is dead? All dead. A soldier covered in blood came to the officer's side, his face full of grief. Brother Son, they're all dead, every one of them. All killed by this beast. Upon hearing this, the officer's spirit instantly collapsed. He stared blankly at the only 5 people left by his side, his voice hoarse. Is that beast dead in front of them? The wild boar had already fallen to the forest floor silent, its body covered with dense bullet holes, especially around its mouth where the flesh was almost rotten. Captain, he's dead. The soldier gripped his rifle, his intense hatred nearly driving him insane. He was about to chop this culprit into pieces. Dead is good. The officer let out a long breath, trying hard to calm himself down. Everyone hold on a little longer. First, let's send our brothers back to the helicopter and take them home. Yes. The remaining 5 soldiers nodded silently, went to their fallen comrades, tied them up and loaded them onto the helicopter. The remaining 2 helicopters were responsible for transporting the wild boar. Hurry up, everyone. It seems something's happening up ahead. If we don't go now, it'll be too late. Just then, a helicopter pilot suddenly exclaimed in panic. The officer looked up at the sound, and his pupils suddenly contracted. He saw a huge black shadow, suddenly charging from the horizon. Before the helicopters in the air could react, several wind blades followed, directly hitting the helicopters. All 3 helicopters disintegrated instantly. The explosion swept up the wreckage of the helicopters and scattered it in all directions. Beast, go to hell! The officer roared. You beast! And kept firing his submachine gun at the black shadow. It was a huge bird of prey. After destroying the helicopter, it dived down with terrifying claws, grabbed the officer and the remaining 5 soldiers, and crushed them into pieces as it rose into the air. 3 days later, I had completely left Zhanghai City and arrived in a remote wilderness. After running non-stop for 3 days, I finally felt a hint of fatigue. But just as I was about to stop and rest, suddenly a burst of intensive gunfire came from not far away. I immediately stood up, my sharp tiger eyes vigilantly scanning the surroundings. Judging by the sound, the gunfire was still some distance away. After some thought, I decided to go over and check. Before long, I emerged from the wilderness and came to a gentle slope. Looking into the distance, I saw a small town. At the entrance of the town, there were 3 prominent large characters, Crocodile Town. Above them was a lifelike crocodile statue. But at this moment, the town was in chaos. Massive crocodiles were everywhere inside, and the largest one had a body length of up to 10 meters. Among the crocodile swarm, a human armed team was frantically shooting, resisting the crocodile's attack. However, this team was now at their last gasp. Seeing that 10-meter-long giant crocodile, I suddenly remembered something. This creature is the bloodthirsty butcher. This town is named after crocodiles because it is a specialized crocodile farming town. Every day, a large number of crocodiles are slaughtered and transported all over the country, either becoming food on tables or turned into leather shoes bags and other accessories. Therefore, after reaping the benefits, Crocodile Town had been expanding its farming scale. But unexpectedly, a blood rain brought a catastrophic disaster to this town. Because of the sudden blood rain, inside the farms, a large number of crocodiles evolved. Among them, the strongest was a crocodile named Bloodthirsty Butcher. This creature had excellent bloodline, and after the blood rain, it awakened the blood-sucking art and the frenzy art, 2 innate abilities. Blood-sucking was somewhat similar to my own devouring ability, only it used the absorption of blood to help itself grow. Frenzy Art, on the other hand, condensed a layer of rage around its body as a shield. When using this ability, the angrier it got, the stronger its defense. although both were only initial level innate abilities. In my previous life, the Bloodthirsty Butcher relied on these two abilities to show strength no less than that of an ordinary king level beast. In short, it was an extremely tenacious and powerful creature. In my previous life, this beast in a fit of rage successively massacred more than a dozen human towns, causing those towns to always be shrouded in a terrifying blood haze. This deed earned it a notorious reputation in the human world, which is also how it got its title. I stood quietly on the gentle slope, gazing at the battlefield between humans and beasts, saying nothing. At this moment in the town, the massacre by the Bloodthirsty Butcher and the other crocodiles continued. That human-armed team had almost exhausted their ammunition, and even the gunfire had become sparse. More and more humans were being killed by the crocodiles, especially around the Bloodthirsty Butcher, where human corpses piled up layer upon layer. All these corpses were shriveled and pale, without a trace of blood. This was a battle with no suspense, but at this moment I was thinking about something else. My own devouring ability, after all, was like a whirlpool swallowing everything. Its greatest use was to devour the abilities of other beasts for my own use, but it still had shortcomings. If I could combine the Bloodthirsty Butcher's blood-sucking art with my own devouring ability, unexpected changes might occur. Thinking of this, I did not hesitate and headed toward Crocodile Town. The once prosperous scene of Crocodile Town was gone. On both sides of the streets, countless shop doors stood wide open, the interiors in complete disarray. The humans living here were now fleeing in panic everywhere. In the square at the town center, survivors who had narrowly escaped the beast's jaws gathered together, their eyes filled with terror. Outside them were the armed team that had come to evacuate the crowd. A strong smell of blood permeated the square, and everywhere around was a hideous mess of fresh blood. Outside this group, countless crocodiles of all sizes roamed. On the streets, broken limbs and remains of humans and crocodiles were scattered everywhere, many of them trampled, making it impossible to tell whether they were human or crocodile. Just then, someone suddenly screamed, and at the same time backed away in panic. An armed personnel nearby saw this, ignoring everything else, hurriedly raised his gun, and swept the direction of the scream. Although he succeeded in killing the crocodile that had attacked the survivor, its sharp teeth before dying still bit a woman tightly. "Mommy, I'm so scared." A 6 or 7-year-old child cried bitterly, desperately hiding in his mother's arms. Helpless cries kept coming from the crowd. Despair and fear spread among them. Under extreme stress, some people completely broke down. After a loud roar, unarmed they charged into the crocodile swarm, their eyes already filled with death. "You beasts! I'll fight you to the death!" After the desperate shouts, there was absolute silence. A few survivors near the crocodile edge didn't even struggle before they were swallowed by bloody jaws. The remaining survivors curled up in despair, protected by the remaining dozen or so armed personnel. Gunfire rang out continuously in the field, pausing for a moment before starting again, as if telling of human tenacity. A dozen armed personnel unleashed a frenzy of gunfire at the Bloodthirsty Butcher. They all understood that only by eliminating this strongest crocodile could they avert today's disaster. The Bloodthirsty Butcher had thick skin and tough flesh. Although ordinary bullets couldn't penetrate its solid armor, a few bullets still hit its abdomen from tricky angles, drawing little drops of blood. Feeling the pain, the Bloodthirsty Butcher suddenly opened its mouth and roared, and at the same time activated its innate ability, Frenzy Art. Instantly, a thick, blood-colored armor condensed around its body. Suddenly, all the bullets were blocked by the blood armor. "Captain, this monster is too freakish. We can't break his defense at all. Should we retreat?" A team member had emptied his magazine and shouted at the leader, "If this keeps up, we'll be worn down to death by him. We have to find a way to kill this beast." "Find a way. What way can you find?" Before the captain could respond, another team member, nearly breaking down, yelled, "We've been fighting for so long, and this beast is still hopping around. Our bullets are no threat to him at all. If there was a way, would we be in this situation? Then what do you suggest?" The captain saw that his men, fighting desperately, were about to turn on each other under the immense pressure, so he immediately roared, "Enough! All of you quiet down! Is this the time to argue?" He looked around fiercely, and when his eyes fell on the group of survivors, a trace of tenderness appeared, but quickly disappeared. "Save your bullets. This beast has thick skin and tough flesh. Bullets can hardly hurt him. When he opens his mouth, we'll pour all the bullets into it." Gunfire erupted again. The captain turned back for a last look at the helpless crowd, and as he turned away, a crystal tear slid from the corner of his eye. He quickly threw a grenade. As the explosion sounded, he shouted, "Smoke grenades!" Flashbangs, we retreat now. At this time, I stood not far away observing from the shadows, not acting blindly. When the bloodthirsty butcher was in a state of extreme rage, the power of frenzy art was enormous. I absolutely couldn't fight it at this moment, otherwise I would only end up at a disadvantage. On the square, a few armed personnel couldn't bear it. During the retreat, using the smoke as cover, they casually grabbed a few compatriots and brought them along. Seeing this, the rest panicked and followed the armed personnel's movement. The captain felt a little ashamed and lowered his head, but quickly turned back to pick up those who were unarmed. With the smoke's cover, the armed team quickly evacuated with the remaining survivors. When the smoke cleared, there were only aimless crocodiles left on the square, no trace of humans. Seeing this, the bloodthirsty butcher roared at the sky, but had no outlet for its fury. Without external attacks, its frenzy art gradually lost its effect, and finally dissipated little by little. Looking closely, the bloodthirsty butcher was covered in wounds, and with each breath, blood oozed from its body. Although frenzy art had given it great defense, it was still only a first-tier beast, and couldn't completely resist human firearms. Seeing this, a cold gleam flashed in my eyes. I let out a roar, and charged without hesitation. Now was the perfect time to strike while it was down. I crouched low, circling around the wounded bloodthirsty butcher back and forth. A fierce aura emanated from me. Sensing my killing intent, the bloodthirsty butcher immediately lay still on the ground. It was already badly wounded, especially its abdomen, which was embedded with bullet holes. Now it had to hide its abdomen to avoid exposing this weakness. Unfortunately, I had already observed the entire battle, so its clumsy move was meaningless to me. But to be on the safe side, I did not attack immediately. Instead, I kept circling around it, looking for the moment to deliver a fatal blow. As time passed, the bloodthirsty butcher grew restless. It roared again and used frenzy art, adding a thick blood-colored armor to itself, hoping to find a chance to escape. But did I not see through this little trick? I let out a roar, directly activated both Bluff and Diamond Body, and charged fiercely. With a loud crash, the bloodthirsty butcher was sent flying several meters away, and several blood marks were torn on its blood armor. It was extremely shocked that it had lost the upper hand in the first exchange. I continued to circle around it. Seeing that its frenzy art had little effect in front of me, it changed its battle strategy. It roared and lunged forward, opening its huge mouth to bite my front leg. Seeing this, I pushed off with my hind legs, jumping straight into the air, and at the same time slammed my huge tiger paw down on its face. A strong dizziness made the bloodthirsty butcher's movements sluggish, and as it landed, it exposed the wounds on its abdomen. I seized the opportunity and rushed out, my sharp tiger claws directly striking its abdominal wounds. With a flash of cold light, several deep gashes were opened on its abdomen, and with its movements, deeper organs could faintly be seen. It roared again, as if trying to embolden itself, but its voice was full of fear. Just in terms of momentum, it had already fallen behind. Although I had succeeded with one strike, I did not press the attack. Instead, I kept circling around the bloodthirsty butcher, because the bloodthirsty butcher was extremely cunning. Even though I had just injured its abdomen, it might have deliberately exposed a flaw to lure me in. The bloodthirsty butcher always kept its head up, all muscles tense, ready to launch a counterattack at any moment. But because of this, more and more blood gushed from its body, leaving clear trails of blood wherever it went. Sensing that the situation was becoming more and more unfavorable, the bloodthirsty butcher roared repeatedly and began to devour the scattered human and crocodile corpses nearby, seemingly to restore its energy. Seeing this, I was shocked and dared not hold back any longer. I roared and pounced fiercely. At this moment, my attack was like a sudden thunderclap. My sharp tiger claws directly pierced the bloodthirsty butcher's abdomen, and then I opened my huge mouth, biting its neck tightly. The bloodthirsty butcher let out a miserable roar, and then gradually went still. Its massive body collapsed into a pile of dead flesh, lying lifelessly on the town square. Seeing this, the other crocodiles fled in all directions. Finally dead, I swung my tiger claw, directly cut open the bloodthirsty butcher's body, and took out a red ability crystal core. Without hesitation, I swallowed it in one gulp. The immense energy made me let out an exhilarating roar. At the same time, I used my devouring ability to quickly digest the crystal core. After a moment, I successfully obtained the two abilities blood-sucking art and frenzy art. My entire body exuded the aura of a king. Looking at the bloodthirsty butcher's body, I opened my huge mouth and began to devour its flesh. After eating and drinking my fill, I left Crocodile Town and continued heading toward the Great Wilderness Mountain. Half a day later, an armed team returned, everyone carrying rocket launchers, full of confidence. But when they arrived at the town square, the sight before them left them dumbfounded. At this time, I'd already arrived in a wilderness. Just as I was about to stop and rest, suddenly a faint, strange sound came from the distance. although it was some distance away. Now that I had sharp ears and keen eyes, any slight movement within hundreds of meters could not escape me. I quietly moved toward the direction of the sound. In my sight, a huge gray wolf was running wildly through the forest. This giant wolf was slightly weaker than the silver-white giant wolf I had encountered before, but it was very fast. Ahead of the giant wolf was a purple light clump, darting left and right, trying to get rid of the wolf's pursuit. But every move was anticipated by the wolf, so it never managed to escape. Seeing this, my heart suddenly stirred. Could it be a rare treasure? Driven by curiosity, I quietly approached the giant wolf. Although the giant wolf was only a first-tier early-stage beast, its limbs seemed to move as if riding the wind. Faster than most first-tier beasts, the purple light clump, although not fast, was very agile, which is why it could repeatedly dodge the wolf's pounces. Moreover, the purple light clump seemed to be playing with it on purpose. Whenever the wolf fell too far behind, it would deliberately slow down for the wolf to catch up. I then realized that it wasn't that the purple light clump couldn't escape, but that it was deliberately toying with the wolf. I found it interesting, and became even more curious about the true nature of the purple light clump. If it really was a rare treasure, it must be something extremely precious. As I got closer, I finally saw what the purple light was. It turned out to be a purple wildcat. I was very surprised. A giant wolf that had become a beast should logically be able to easily handle this wildcat. Yet this wildcat was playing the giant wolf around like a toy. I faintly sensed something unusual, and then suddenly thought of something. No wonder it could spin the giant wolf around its finger. This purple cat is almost certainly the famous magic cat from my previous life. In my previous life, the magic cat was a king-level beast. Its origin extremely mysterious. Even its awakened ability was unknown. But since it could become a king-level beast, it must have awakened at least an S-rank ability. Then I recalled other information about the magic cat. Although it was a king-level beast, rumor had it that it had no combat ability at all. The ability it awakened was only useful for support. Therefore, when facing a same-level king-level beast, it was no match at all. However, it could make up for this in other ways. It could fuse with other beasts. As a support-type king-level beast, after fusing with other beasts, the magic cat would greatly enhance the fused beast's strength. With the magic cat's fusion boost, turning defeat into victory, fighting above its level, and taking on multiple enemies alone were all easy. In my previous life, this magic cat was recruited by a beast emperor, the Ice Crystal Phoenix. The Ice Crystal Phoenix was already a king among beasts, but after fusing with the magic cat, its strength rose another level, allowing it to fight two Beast Emperor level opponents at the same time without losing ground. I never expected to encounter this legendary beast from my previous life. Thinking of this, a thought crossed my mind. What if I could subdue this magic cat? Didn't expect I actually encountered a legendary fierce beast from my past life. Thinking of this, a thought flashed through my mind. If I could subdue this magical cat, from now on we'll have a powerful ally. Once the idea popped up, it got out of control. Thinking of this, my gaze fell on that giant wolf. Kill intent emerged within the tiger's plan. Having made up my mind, I no longer hesitated. At that moment, the giant wolf finally realized that he had been toyed with by that little cat in front. He immediately roared up to the sky. The magical cat grew even more pleased. It began circling the giant wolf every now and then. However, whenever the giant wolf's claws were about to strike him, he would dodge very nimbly, then reappear in front of the opponent. Not far away, the golden giant wolf finally couldn't take it anymore. His aura suddenly surged. His speed abruptly increased. The sudden change caught the purple cat off guard. He dodged in panic, but at this moment the giant wolf was too fast. The gleaming claws were about to land on the magical cat, when suddenly a mass of ice energy shot toward the giant wolf. The moment the ice hit the giant wolf, it tore his body in two. Calmly, I walked beside the giant wolf's corpse, ready to take out the golden box. The magical cat opened its big eyes, watching with great curiosity, showing no fear at all. I stopped what I was doing and looked over. I knew this guy wasn't stupid, but firmly believed in his own strength. Hence, he was fearless. The magical cat, though not having great combat strength, had self-preservation abilities beyond most. Moreover, I had never intended to kill him. I rummaged through the giant wolf's corpse and pulled out its golden essence, then turned and handed it to the magical cat. This made the magical cat freeze for a moment, then quickly approached me, placing a paw on the golden essence. Seeing that I didn't stop him, he delightedly grabbed the golden essence and swallowed it in one gulp. Shortly after, his body radiated even more dazzling purple light. His aura began to slowly rise. I was slightly surprised. I didn't expect that he could improve his strength just by relying on the golden essence. You see, not all beasts could do this. After digesting the golden essence, he turned into a purple light again and flew around wildly. Then, he circled around me left and right, as if expressing his gratitude. Finally, he let out several extremely joyful sounds. At this moment, I was delighted. My idea was indeed correct. This golden essence had already made the magical cat feel favorable toward me. An hour later, I set off again. The giant wolf's corpse had become mutilated. Most of the flesh was now in my belly. Behind me, the magical cat turned into a purple beam, following closely, sometimes flying around, sometimes resting lying on my back. I didn't interfere with that. Through the earlier golden essence of that giant wolf, I had successfully gained the magical cat's favor. Next, as long as I gave him a golden essence from time to time, I could gradually win him over. Having made up my mind, I sped up again, heading toward the Devour Mountains. Meanwhile, in a laboratory in the capital, Xia Xinyu, wearing a research suit, stood before a huge transparent glass wall. In his sight was a strong soldier. "Professor Xia, shall we proceed with the second experiment?" A tall woman in a white gown asked softly. Xia Xinyu withdrew his gaze and looked at the woman. "During this time to capture and kill the beasts, we have already sacrificed many soldiers. Therefore, the research results obtained through these hardships are particularly precious." The woman's expression was serious. "Professor Xia, we all know that. I understand. To fight against these beasts that appeared due to the mutation, Xia Xinyu and the cooperating military research team have paid a great price. At the beginning, the first test subject was Professor Xia's own son, but he died immediately after undergoing one experiment. Xia Xinyu endured the grief and continued the experiments, using his own son's remains to further enhance the potion, research, and develop a strengthening potion more suitable for human ingestion. Let's begin." After a long while, Xia Xinyu nodded. As his words fell, all the researchers around him sprang into action. By devouring their abilities, the golden essence, my strength finally increased to some late-stage peak, and along the way to the Dehuang Mountains, I successfully tamed a child bride magical cat. At the same time, humans also developed a strengthening potion that could grant supernatural powers. Now, in a research institute in the capital, the researchers handed a tube of red potion to a soldier. "Zhu Heng, once you swallow the potion, you might die. So before the experiment, I want to ask you once more, are you willing to be the test subject?" "I am willing." Zhu Heng's expression was extremely determined. The reason he applied to be the test subject for the strengthening potion was because he had participated in a beast hunting mission and watched with his own eyes as his comrades and brothers died in the beasts' mouths. Although he survived by chance, he lost a leg because of it. The researcher nodded and handed the strengthening potion to Zhu Heng. Outside the glass wall, Xia Xinyu looked solemn. If this trial still failed, their experiments might be halted. "Experiment starts!" With the researcher's command, Zhu Heng swallowed the strengthening potion without hesitation, then stood still, not moving at all. Xia Xinyu and the others stared solemnly inside the glass wall. Soon the strengthening potion took effect. Zhu Heng's body turned red under the effect. Then Zhu Heng suddenly screamed in agony, tearing at his skin violently, as if something was about to burst out of his body. Shortly, large bloody scratch marks appeared on his body. Outside the glass wall, Xia Xinyu frowned deeply, his heart full of tension. Just then, a strange noise came from Zhu Heng's body, sound like bones breaking. Everyone's faces changed. Their expressions grew even more serious. Then, they saw flames spreading all over Zhu Heng's body, instantly turning him into a human torch. "It's working," the assistant exclaimed excitedly. Seeing this, Xia Xinyu was overjoyed. It succeeded. He looked at Zhu Heng with immense excitement. After a moment's hesitation, he leaned into the microphone and asked Zhu Heng in the lab, "How do you feel now? And what was that sound just now?" "Professor, I feel great now." Zhu Heng stood there extremely excited. "The strengthening potion not only modified my genes, but also healed my missing limb." Hearing this, Xia Xinyu and the others looked down slightly and noticed that Zhu Heng's lost left leg had now grown back. Good, that's wonderful." Xia Xinyu finally felt relieved. He quickly asked, "Can you control the flames covering your entire body now?" "Burning flames." Zhu Heng nodded slightly. The flames around him instantly vanished into his body. He took a few steps, clenched his fist, and punched forward fiercely. Flames burst out instantly, sending sparks flying everywhere. They hit a glass bottle ahead. The moment the flames touched it, the glass bottle turned into liquid. Seeing this, Xia Xinyu could barely contain his excitement, clapping and cheering repeatedly. The other researchers were also overjoyed. After a moment, Zhu Heng returned to normal. He put on his clothes and walked out. Confidence shone in his eyes again. He bowed solemnly to Xia Xinyu. "Thank you, Professor Xia, for your help. From now on, I will fight the beast to the death." On the other side, after a day's journey, I finally arrived at the foot of the Devour Mountains. The moment I got there, I could clearly feel the mountain forest filled with the auras of various fierce beasts. At this moment, the magical cat let out a worried cry, seeming a bit afraid to enter the Devour Mountains. I let out a low growl at him, conveying reassurance. With me here, no surprises. After a brief pause, I plunged straight into the mountains, heading toward the location of the celestial fruit tree. However, before I had gone far, a huge toad blocked the way ahead, and as soon as it saw me, it shot a water arrow at me. How reckless, I snorted coldly, and swatted away the incoming water arrow. Then I rushed forward quickly and smashed it into pieces with one claw. After dealing with the toad, I continued deeper into the mountains. Shortly after, a chicken emerged from the grass, blocking the path. I frowned, wondering where it got its courage. As soon as it appeared, the chicken let out a harsh cry, then flapped its wings and charged at me. I stood still as if stunned, not moving at all. This boosted the chicken's confidence. When it was about 3 meters away, it leaped up suddenly, its long claws aiming straight for my handsome fox face. Seeing this, I casually swung my own long claw. The chicken was instantly torn in two, twitched a few times on the ground, and then fell silent. Skillfully, I took out the chicken's golden essence and tossed it to the magical cat behind me. The magical cat let out a joyful cry, happily catching the golden essence, and swallowed it in one gulp. Seeing such a greedy little cat, I gave a low growl, meaning, follow the big brother and you'll get benefits. The magical cat replied with a happy sound, as if saying, thank you, good big brother, for the golden essence. After the call, he nuzzled his head against mine affectionately, expressing his joy and gratitude. I was overjoyed inside. My gaze toward the magical cat became softer. I knew that this little cat was slowly becoming attached to me. It was only a matter of time before I fully tamed him. Then I took the magical cat and continued to venture deeper into the Devour Mountains. The deeper we went into the Devour Mountains, the stronger the fierce beasts we encountered became. And from time to time, we encountered first stage, mid-level beasts. Soon after, the magical cat stopped and issued a few warning cries very alertly. I immediately stopped and looked around. The next second, a giant wolf with a huge body appeared in sight. I cast a glance at the giant wolf. The giant wolf instinctively stepped back, its eyes filled with fear. But then more and more wolves appeared all around, each baring its teeth, emanating intense hostility, emanating from their bodies. These wolves had basically completed their evolution, and they had all evolved similar abilities, mastering the power to spit fire. One of the giant wolves grew impatient, and flames burst out instantly, igniting the nearby weeds. The other giant wolves slowly closed in on me. I remained completely calm, and let out a low growl warning them to leave immediately. However, the wolves ignored me. Then from within the pack, a wolf leader over 3 meters long stepped forward. It let out a howl to the sky, and the whole pack quickly pounced on me. A bunch of reckless fools, I snorted coldly, showing no fear. Swinging my huge fox claw, I sent the leading wolf flying. At that moment, the magical cat let out an angry cry, then turned into a purple light and merged into my body. I instantly felt a surge of power, directly reaching the level of a second stage beast. My heart raced with excitement. Truly a king-class auxiliary beast. With the magical cat's boost, I felt exhilarated. With a roar, I flung myself into the pack. In the face of absolute power, those wolves were completely outmatched. With just one swipe, a first-level giant wolf was smashed to pieces. Even the Wolf King didn't survive 2 claws. In an instant, I slaughtered the entire pack, leaving wolf carcasses everywhere. During this process, I made a more important discovery. This magical cat not only boosted my power, but also provided a defensive shield. After the magical cat disengaged from our fusion, I gently rubbed my head against him. Little one, you're amazing. I really like you. After eliminating all the giant wolves, I began to clear the battlefield. I gave some of the ability essences to the magical cat and swallowed the Wolf King's essence myself. As the devouring ability took effect, I quickly digested the power within the golden essence and gained a new B-level ability, Flame Control, allowing me to freely control the size and power of flames and to breathe fire that burns everything. After a brief understanding of this ability, I didn't delve deeper. After a short rest, I led the magical cat deeper into the Devour Mountains. Along the way, we encountered many fierce beasts, some of which even I found troublesome. But with the magical cat's help, these beasts were almost all defeated. Half a day later, we finally reached the depths of the mountains. I stopped and looked around. Looking up, I saw a golden light shining at the top of a peak. A golden fruit tree stood proudly. Beside the fruit tree lay a huge creature, covered in purple crystals. Massive beast's head, shaped like a rather ferocious lion's head, with a fiery red spiral horn on its head. Its blood-red eyes held a beastly gaze with a strange purple light. So this is the purple gold lion king. Having seen the appearance of the huge beast, I couldn't help but marvel. This purple gold lion king is truly a born king. From the start, it exerts an oppressive aura over other beasts. Aren't we going over? The magical cat let out a soft cry. I quickly understood its meaning. I shook my head and replied with a low growl, not yet. We need to first figure out the purple gold lion king's strength. We can act later. If we just rush in recklessly, not to mention snatching the celestial fruit tree, even our lives might not be saved. The magical cat stopped talking, remained quiet for a while, then suddenly meowed a few times. How about I go take a look? I'm small and fast. As long as I don't make a big noise, the purple gold lion king definitely won't notice me. Hearing this, I couldn't help but ponder. We were still some distance from the peak. In this place, although I could sense the purple gold lion king's aura, I couldn't ascertain its true strength. Thinking of this, I glanced at the eager magical cat, then softly let out 2 growls. Go ahead. Be careful, and don't get caught. As soon as you learn the purple gold lion king's actual strength, come back immediately. The magical cat gave a happy cry, turned into a purple light and flew off. Moments later, it flew back again. It couldn't wait to whisper, I've already figured it out. That purple gold lion king's strength has reached the first stage, 8 level, not much weaker than you. My expression hardened. This purple gold lion king is indeed extraordinary. It must have consumed some rare treasure to have such strength. I remained silent. The magical cat alternated glances between the celestial fruit tree and me, calling out excitedly, When can we start? I let out 2 low growls. Wait! Don't act rashly for now. Then I fixed my gaze on the celestial fruit tree at the top of the peak. I noticed that its fruits were not yet fully ripe. I immediately understood the reason. No wonder the purple gold lion king was only resting quietly under the celestial fruit tree. I no longer felt anxious. I decided to wait patiently at the foot of the mountain. Now in the Devour Mountains, besides the purple gold lion king and myself, there must be many other hidden beasts. If we showed ourselves now, we would surely die badly. Sure enough, after a while, a golden eagle with a body length of 10 meters circled in the sky, occasionally letting out warning cries full of menace. After evolution, the golden eagle was like a fighter jet. Its huge size once appeared, exuded tremendous pressure. Moreover, besides the golden eagle, many other beasts were also rushing toward the peak. In sight, a giant python coiled around the mountainside, over 10 meters long. Where it passed nearby, plants withered instantly. A giant wolf covered in flames howled toward the peak, as if asserting its dominance, trying to intimidate the other beasts. For the celestial fruit tree, all these powerful beasts could no longer sit still. I squinted slightly, my mind full of thoughts. I was thinking about where to find a good spot to watch the show, and then let the clam grab the oyster, and reap the benefits as the fisherman. The magical cat let out a low meow. He was naturally playful, and seeing so many beasts gathered, he was naturally very eager. I just growled softly to soothe him, lest he reveal us by acting impulsively. The magical cat finally calmed down a bit, but kept staring at the celestial fruit tree. Meanwhile, I recalled the purple gold lion king's abilities from my past life. This purple gold lion king had awakened 2 S-level abilities. One is called Purple Gold Monster, which can absorb solar power to strengthen itself and shoot terrifying energy blasts. The other ability is called Purple Gold Seal, which can seal the abilities of other beasts. In addition, this guy can also fly. Therefore, the Purple Gold Lion King is the overlord of Wukong. Dealing with him will be very tricky. Any carelessness could lead to being killed by it. In a one-on-one fight, the beasts that have come so far are no match for the Purple Gold Lion King. Even I am not sure of victory. But fortunately, I have the magical cat. After merging with the magical cat, I can definitely take down the Purple Gold Lion King. At this moment, various beasts on the field began to make warning sounds. They sensed something unusual nearby, but it didn't attract their special attention. The celestial fruit tree was not yet ripe. These beasts were all waiting patiently, but the rich fragrance from the celestial fruit tree attracted more and more beasts to this place. I took a rough glance, only seeing constantly shaking vegetation, but I knew there were a lot of beasts coming. As time passed, the arriving beasts gradually revealed themselves, advancing toward the peak. The golden eagle in the sky also lowered its flight altitude, but it was enough to ensure its own safety. The giant python and the giant wolf were even more anxious, speeding up, wanting to get closer to the celestial origin tree. Even the purple gold lion king stood up at this moment, staring at the 4 surrounding ferocious beasts with extreme vigilance. My greedy gaze however, fell upon the celestial origin tree. As long as I eat one fruit, I will definitely be able to break through to 2 Jin. By then, even if these ferocious beasts join forces, they won't be my match. But I am well aware, now is still not the time to make a move. At this moment, these ferocious beasts will inevitably have a terrifying conflict. No one can stop such a thing from happening. The next moment, a loud sound rang out. A giant goat with bloodshot eyes, ignoring the obstruction of the other fierce beasts, charged straight towards the celestial origin tree. However, before it could reach the tree, it was killed by a single swipe of the purple gold Lion King's claw. In an instant, blood splattered on the spot. At this moment, the mountain peak was incredibly lively. More and more ferocious beasts like moths to a flame rushed towards the mountaintop, but all were mercilessly killed by the purple gold Lion King. The giant wolf and the giant python were only about 10 meters from the celestial origin tree, but neither of them made a move. Even the golden eagle kept circling in the sky, trying to use the other ferocious beast to exhaust the purple gold Lion King's strength. Watching this scene from the foot of the mountain, my heart grew more and more delighted. Fight the livelier the better. You're fighting and killing each other now. You're only making a wedding dress for me. Soon it was time. The next day, I lazily opened my tiger eyes, casually killed a ferocious beast, enjoyed breakfast with the magical cat. An hour later, the celestial origin tree suddenly emitted a burst of dazzling intense light. I knew it was a sign that the fruit was about to ripen. I growled a few times at the magical cat. The magical cat was instantly excited. It instantly integrated into my body without hesitation. An aura belonging solely to a second-rank ferocious beast exploded outwards. I turned into a blur and rushed straight to the mountaintop, incredibly fast while sprinting. I glanced at the other nearby ferocious beasts. I found that they were now unable to hold back either, and were charging towards the mountaintop one after another. The golden eagle, giant python, and fire wolf were the first to rush in the lead. Soon, a great battle erupted with the purple gold Lion King. In an instant, the mountaintop was filled with non-stop strange cries. Light burst forth continuously. Gordon, I let out a furious roar, reminding the magical cat to cast a shield on me, getting ready to join the team fight. But just at that moment, a roar suddenly came from the sky. I abruptly stopped in my tracks, looked up. I saw several helicopters wrapped in strong winds, descending rapidly. Humans have come too. I was somewhat surprised. Now things are getting more and more interesting. Originally just a clash between ferocious beasts, but humans are butting in at this moment. It will definitely change the current situation. Blow all these animals to death with the explosives in the helicopter. A soldier who looked like an officer shouted into the walkie-talkie. Instantly, all the soldiers untied the ropes binding the explosives on the helicopters and dropped them down. In an instant, a large amount of explosives rained down like a storm. In the blink of an eye, the nearby ferocious beasts were blown to a bloody pulp. Flesh and blood flew everywhere. The ferocious beasts near the celestial origin tree were instantly cleared out. Osaka, right at this moment, a bundle of explosives suddenly fell towards me. I let out a low growl, quickly dodged to the side. At the same time, the magical cat added another layer of shields. Explosions rang out one after another. My figure quickly emerged from the smoke and dust, and I was completely unharmed. Just some dirt stuck to my fur, making me look a bit disheveled. Meanwhile, on the mountaintop, the golden eagle was completely enraged by the human's actions. It looked up to the sky and let out a cry while vigorously flapping its wings. Instantly, several golden blades shot towards the helicopters. In an instant, it shot down one helicopter directly. The purple gold Lion King was covered in purple light sharp as lightning. A purple beam shot out from its mouth instantly, piercing through a helicopter. Just in the first exchange, the humans had already suffered heavy losses. Damn it, how could this be? That officer managed to escape the disaster, but was also extremely terrified. He hadn't expected the strength of these ferocious beasts to be so terrifying. Thinking of this, he shouted to the remaining helicopters that were still safe retreat. Retreat quickly. We underestimated the strength of the beasts. We must leave. Hearing this, the remaining soldiers drove the helicopters away in panic without hesitation. I watched the humans' helicopters beat a hasty retreat. My tiger face was filled with instantly boundless killing intent erupted from my body. It's my turn to act. I leaped up the mountaintop in a few bounds. My imposing aura directly blasted a group of small fry, preventing them from daring to move recklessly. The purple gold Lion King was firmly guarding the celestial origin tree behind it, its body covered in wounds of all sizes. Bright red blood oozed from the wounds. The giant python, the giant wolf. A flash of intense color passed through the eyes of the golden eagle and the others, but none of them recklessly moved forward. Instead, they directed the weaker, ferocious beasts to continue surrounding and attacking the purple gold Lion King. They want to wear out the purple gold Lion King slowly like this. I saw through the purpose of these ferocious beasts at a glance, but this situation is exactly what I wanted. Just then the firewolf opened its mouth and spat out a ball of extremely hot flames, heading straight for the purple gold lion king. It had chosen the right moment. Under the combined attack of several ferocious beasts, the purple gold lion king could only block one of the attacks. It absolutely couldn't block the rest. Sure enough, its flames hit the purple gold lion king's back squarely, instantly igniting terrifying flames. At the same time, the golden eagle's sharp claws descended from the sky, trying to tear into the purple gold lion king's flesh, but were blocked by the purple beam shot from the latter's mouth. Meanwhile, the giant python hesitated on the edge of the battlefield, spitting out large amounts of venom from time to time, but not engaging in close combat with the purple gold lion king. "You're the one!" After assessing the situation on the battlefield, I immediately targeted the giant python and charged at it. My sharp tiger claws aimed straight for its 7-inch spot. The giant python reacted very quickly, twisting its body almost instantly, protecting its 7-inch spot. At the same time, it immediately tightened its scales to prevent me from succeeding. After one strike, I didn't care whether I had hit the giant python's vital spot and directly retreated. In my line of sight, the giant python's scales flew far away, some even carried blood with them. The moment I collided with the giant python just now, the magical cat had already cast shield and healing abilities, directly restoring the parts of my body that had been contaminated by the giant python's venom. Otherwise, I would definitely have been injured. "Well done," I growled softly out of the magical cat. The magical cat meowed happily a few times, looking very proud. Seeing how troublesome the giant python was, I immediately changed my target to the firewolf. I let out a furious roar. Surging flames instantly erupted from my body. The firewolf, as if provoked, a terrifying flame rose from its entire body. "Come on, let's have a head-on collision." However, the next moment, the flames on my body receded like the tide. Just as the firewolf was surprised and unsure, I slightly opened my tiger mouth. A blast of frost containing extreme cold hit the firewolf squarely. The firewolf seemed somewhat dismissive. After all, it was an expert at playing with fire. This frost would surely melt quickly. But what terrified it immensely was that I actually used flames again and aimed them at the ice on its body. "Now let's see if you can handle this." I laughed somewhat triumphantly. The frost power I had just spat out would be no problem for the firewolf to melt on its own. After all, it could control the intensity. But with the collision, the firewolf's own flames were suppressed, giving the frost a chance to directly invade its body. Sure enough, the firewolf stumbled back a few steps, almost unable to stand steady. Seizing this opportunity, I immediately charged forward again. My tiger claws shimmered with bursts of golden light, stabbing straight at the firewolf's neck. Under the double enhancement of Blood Rage and Diamond Palace, the firewolf's body was as fragile as tofu, crumbling at the slightest touch. It whimpered and cried out a few times in grief, then crashed to the ground. I had slain the firewolf. I charged towards the giant python again. Seeing this, the giant python repeated its old trick, spitting out a large amount of venom to slow my advance. Seeing this, I directly released several bolts of lightning, striking the giant python directly. The giant python screamed in pain, but before it could recover from the pain, my attack struck again. After being hit by the lightning just now, its body had become extremely fragile. It was soon torn into several pieces by my sharp claws, dying miserably on the spot. Seeing me quickly kill two beasts of comparable strength to itself, and being injured itself, the golden eagle immediately fled, disappearing without a trace in no time. At this point, I took a few steps forward, facing the purple gold lion king directly. The latter had been under constant attack, and was now at the end of its strength. Seeing me coming straight for it, the purple gold lion hesitated for a moment, then immediately used its strongest attack, the purple gold seal. I was startled. I felt my abilities disappear instantly. I could sense them, but couldn't use them. In my panic, I heard the magical cat meow. The next moment, the seal on me was undone. "Well done, little one." I was overjoyed inside. After praising it a few times, I directly attacked the purple gold lion king, and within moments I had slain it. After all, without the purple gold seal move, the purple gold lion king was like a tiger without teeth, very weak. The celestial origin tree was finally mine. I walked over to the celestial origin tree, my eyes full of intense heat. Only upon closer inspection did I realize the gold of the celestial origin tree was very pure, brilliant yet not dazzling. The 4 fruits on the golden tree were now fully ripe. A rich, fruity scent continuously assaulted my nose, stirring my heart greatly. Lemon looked over. The ripe celestial origin fruits appeared a pale golden yellow, with peculiar patterns circling around on the skin. Just then, the magical cat meowed softly. "Brother Tiger, these fruits look so delicious. I can hardly bear it." I growled softly. "Don't worry, we can eat them soon." I picked all 4 celestial origin fruits, 2 of them I tossed directly to the magical cat, and I swallowed the remaining 2 in one gulp. The celestial origin fruit seemed perfectly ripe. They almost didn't need chewing, turning into sweet juicy pulp. That slid down my throat in one go. After receiving its celestial origin fruits, the magical cat let out a joyful meow, and then swallowed them down eagerly. And at this moment, the celestial origin fruits went down, a powerful energy erupted inside my body. But this energy was surprisingly gentle, not rampage violently within me. Instead, it seemed to help me regulate my body, like a healing state, flowing along my limbs and bones, spreading throughout my body. At the same time, inside the Tianning City meeting room, the officer, his face full of shame, reported, "Sorry, this mission failed." Hearing this, Xia Xinyu sighed deeply. He looked at the footage captured by the drone with a solemn expression. I didn't expect that in such a short time. These ferocious beasts' strength had already reached such a level. After watching the video footage, Xia Xinyu turned his head and looked at the officer who had carried out the mission. What is the origin of this giant black tiger? Its strength is so formidable, and it possesses so many abilities. The officer heard this and lowered his head, unable to answer his question. On the other side, as the energy within the spirit fruit was completely digested, a powerful aura of a beast suddenly radiated from my body. I carefully felt the changes in my body, and then gradually became happy. So this is the strength of a second-rank ferocious beast. Not bad, not bad. I like it very much. As the pressure of a second-rank beast spread out, the ferocious beasts that arrived later were all trembling, prostrating on the ground. And just at that moment, a brand new aura of a second-rank ferocious beast exploded forth. I turned my head to look, and found that the magical cat had also successfully advanced at this moment. It immediately became excited and meowed, "Brother Tiger, I've become stronger." Then the magical cat stared at me for a while, suddenly let out a surprised meow. "Brother Tiger, you seem different." Hearing this, I immediately became curious. After advancing to the second rank, my strength had skyrocketed, and my body had also grown a bit. Other than that, I didn't feel any other changes. Really, what do I look like now? I asked the magical cat curiously. The magical cat was silent for a moment. Before it spoke carefully, "It's just that you've become blacker and bigger." Hearing this, I was speechless inside. And now in the Tianning City meeting room, Xia Xinyu, looking at the ferocious beast data in his hand, said solemnly, "This black tiger is the strongest beast discovered so far. Although we don't know how it got so strong so quickly, it's definitely not a good thing for us." The officer who had returned in defeat was very relieved. After all, when they were carrying out their mission, this black tiger hadn't yet joined the great battle of the beasts. After watching the video, he felt that if they had encountered the black tiger, then no one would have escaped. "Professor Xia, do you think we should give it a separate designation?" the Tianning City official asked respectfully. Hearing this, Xia Xinyu thought for a moment, then nodded slightly. "Since it's completely black and exceptionally large, let's call it Black Tiger King." After saying this, he looked at everyone seriously. "From now on, list the Black Tiger King as a key observation target, striving to obtain all information about the Black Tiger King at the minimal cost." "Yes," the Tianning City official immediately responded, not daring to delay a moment. Just then, Xia Xinyu seemed to think of something else. "Also, that cat beside the Black Tiger King needs to be given key attention too." "Yes, we understand." At the same time, I looked at the corpse of the purple gold lion king. My heart was burning with excitement. I glanced at the magical cat playing by itself nearby, and thought to myself, the magical cat devours the beast cores, relying on the energy within to enhance its strength, and does not gain the innate abilities of those beasts. So for it, ordinary beast cores would be sufficient. But whether it's the firewolf or the giant python, they are both outstanding among beasts. Giving their cores to the cat would be somewhat wasteful, especially the purple gold lion king's S-rank innate ability. I absolutely cannot miss out on that. Thinking this, I growled softly at the magical cat, "Little one, except for the corpses of the purple gold lion king and the firewolf, you can eat the rest. Obtain their cores." The magical cat let out a happy meow. It didn't know the difference. In its eyes, as long as there was food, it was fine. Seeing the magical cat being so understanding, I happily rubbed against it. However, just as I was about to devour the core of the purple gold lion king, several birds suddenly flew over in the sky. I looked up alertly. These birds had been there during the battle just now, but they hadn't launched any attacks, so I didn't bother to drive them away. It was only now that I realized I was already a second-rank beast. But under the pressure of a second-rank beast, these birds were not afraid at all. Still circling in the sky, there's definitely something wrong. I quickly focused my gaze and sure enough, I discovered the reason they were drones. I was instantly jolted awake. This means I am now completely exposed in human sight. It seems I can't start devouring the purple gold Lion King directly right now. Now, every move I make is under human surveillance. If my devouring ability were to be known by humans, I would definitely face major opposition in the future. They might even send the army to encircle me, but if I do nothing, I will also be suspected by humans. Thinking it over, for a moment, I came to the celestial origin tree, pretended to inspect it, and then started digging it up with a grunt. The magical cat called out, wanting to come help, but I growled and refused. An hour later, I finally finished digging up the entire tree. As long as the celestial origin tree has spiritual energy, it will reform celestial origin fruits periodically. Now, spiritual energy around the world is growing explosively. Although the celestial origin tree was uprooted, it was still full of vitality. After a short rest, I dug out the cores of the giant python and the fire wolf and tossed them to the magical cat. The magical cat was immediately thrilled and couldn't contain its excitement. Then I dug out the core of the purple gold Lion King and gave a low growl to the magical cat. Let's go! We need to find a place to digest this harvest. Carrying the celestial origin tree in my mouth, I quickly descended the mountain. My figure soon disappeared into the dense forest. At the same time, in the Tianning City meeting room, Xia Xinju looked at the screen with a wistful expression. Originally, he had planned to continue following the Black Tiger King for a while. This way he could study the beast properly. Unfortunately, this Mountain King was very vigilant and wouldn't give him too many opportunities. Just then an officer asked softly, "Professor, should we send people or drones to continue tracking?" Xia Xinyu thought for a moment, raised his hand to refuse. No need. This Black Tiger King is quite intelligent. If we keep staring at it might backfire, even make it furious, and attack our people. However, the necessary precautions are still needed. He tapped the table lightly and immediately gave instructions. Inform the heads of all urban areas in the country. If they encounter this Black Tiger King, whether military or supernatural, do not provoke it. Avoid it if possible. Brother Tiger, where are we going? The magical cat, seeing me silently moving forward without stopping, couldn't help but ask curiously. No response needed. This is part of the translation block DS_2480, which is linked above. I stopped in my tracks, pondered for a moment, then lowered my head in thought. The most urgent task now is to find a relatively safe place to devour these cores. Although most of the powerful beasts in the Dahuang mountain range are dead, it's hard to say if the remaining beasts will take the opportunity to attack us. And since I'm being watched by humans, if I cause too much of a stir, I'll expose even more of my abilities. At that time, in order to nip the danger in the bud, humans might go to any lengths to hunt me down. After hearing the answer, the magical cat thought for a while before getting excited and shouting, "Brother Tiger! It looks like there's a cave over there!" A moment later, I brought the magic cat to the entrance of the cave. After confirming there were no fierce beasts inside, I entered first. After placing the heavenly origin fruit tree, I began to devour the golden box of the purple gold Lion King. The magic cat beside me imitated the movements. A few hours later, it let out a satisfied low roar. All the abilities of the purple gold Lion King could be fully digested by me, and I successfully obtained the purple gold crown sun harmony and the purple gold seal, these two skills. I walked to the cave entrance and gathered a little strength, then performed the purple gold crown moon. From my mouth shot a thick purple energy beam, instantly blasting a huge rock into fragments. Little one, let's try merging. I excitedly looked at the magic cat, wanting to see how much our strength would increase after merging now. The magic cat thought for a moment and readily agreed without hesitation. It turned into a streak of purple light and quickly merged into my body. Instantly, an even more powerful aura burst forth. I stood majestically at the cave entrance, feeling the change after merging with the magic cat. Not bad, truly worthy of the Wangji auspicious beast from my past life. I was very satisfied with this. Back when I was at the late first stage, merging with the magic cat could only reach the strength of a second stage beast. Now, although I'm only at the early second stage, with the magic cat's boost, my strength has actually risen to the late second stage. Moreover, after merging with the magic cat now, various auxiliary abilities have also been greatly enhanced. If before the magic cat's shield could ignore attacks from ordinary second stage beasts, now it can be said that all second stage beasts cannot threaten me. From now on, when encountering battles, I can rely on the magic cat's assistance and let loose. After a short rest, I left the cave with the magic cat. Now, there weren't many powerful beasts in the Great Wilderness Mountain Range, so although we encountered some on the way, some were too intimidated by my imposing presence to approach, while others rashly blocked the way and died directly under my fox claws. Soon, the magic cat seemed to realize we were leaving the great wilderness, mountains, and let out a confused cry. I paused, and then told the magic cat what I was thinking. Our destination was never the great wilderness mountain. Then where are we going? The magic cat was very puzzled. Hearing this question, I pondered for a moment, not answering immediately, but my mind was racing with many thoughts. After the mutation, countless opportunities appeared all over the world. Beasts everywhere, to varying degrees, had come into contact with these opportunities and used them to increase their strength, but that method was very slow. However, I could rely on my past life memories to snatch these opportunities before other beasts and humans could react and use them to boost my own power. Therefore, the wilderness and forests would be my long-term home in the future. Moreover, now that I had already entered human sight, if humans learned of my abilities, they would certainly try every means to capture me and perform a series of slice and dice studies. So to avoid falling into human hands, I must establish my own beast force. Now that I had the Heavenly Origin Ancient Tree, I already had the capital to build a beast army. I just needed a territory. Brother Tiger, what are you thinking? The magic cat, seeing that I hadn't responded to its question for a long time, curiously called out to ask, "Are we just going to wander aimlessly? Or do you already have a goal, Brother Tiger? But you're not telling me." I could hear the displeasure in its cry. I thought for a moment, then asked with a low roar, "Do you like being around humans?" "No, I don't." The magic cat tilted its head, thought for a while, then expressed its feelings. "Those humans fight and kill every other beast they see, but they can't even win. I think they're just wasting their energy. And humans are hostile to all other beasts, so they'll definitely treat us the same. If we come into contact with humans, we'll definitely be caught." Hearing this, I laughed out loud with a roar. The magic cat's sense of good and evil was really simple, but that was normal. Even other beasts pretty much thought the same way. Or rather, it was an instinctive aversion to humans. When the two sides meet, one is sure to be hurt. Since you think that way, I won't have to worry about you falling into human hands in the future. After a while, I told the magic cat our destination this time. Cloud Mist Mountain. The magic cat was confused. What kind of place is Cloud Mist Mountain? It had never heard of such a place. I picked some things I could say and told the magic cat. The environment of Cloud Mist Mountain is very good. There are countless colorful flowers there, and all kinds of beasts. You can easily get Golden River treasures there. Once we get there, you can eat Golden River whenever you want. Sure enough, upon hearing this, the magic cat was overjoyed. But the reason I was heading to Cloud Mist Mountain was actually for something more important. In my past life, a few months after the blood feather mutation, a 7-colored lotus appeared on Cloud Mist Mountain. A 7-colored lotus can gather the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, making the spiritual energy on the entire Cloud Mist Mountain several times denser than the outside world. Any beast that cultivated there would progress far faster than outside. And I planned to conquer all the beasts on Cloud Mist Mountain and make it my future territory. Unknowingly, evening arrived. It was perfect timing to travel under the cover of night. I let out a low roar, conveying to the magic cat the intention to advance at top speed. "Let's go target Cloud Mist Mountain. Let's go target Cloud Mist Mountain."